Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel, and for this fun video that I thought I'd do, it's a little bit different from the usual uploads that I've done covering topics. I'll be showcasing my 15 most expensive PlayStation 3 games that I've collected over the years. A lot of these I have not paid full price for. If anything, I've paid like 30 to 50% off what they actually are worth. So just thought it'd be fun to showcase them, and probably even just narrate a bit of the game, maybe some of the features which have driven the price up, or maybe more desirable for features that are more desirable for collectors. I hope you enjoy it. By no means is this meant to be like me showing off or bragging that I have these games in my collection. If anything, it's just a fun video that I thought I'd cover with the games in my collection. I only have kind of your regular run-of-the-mill games that actually have game value. I don't have any of the holy grails for the system. Also, for this video, I won't be doing any special editions and review copies, so games like my Agarist, Generations of War Zero, or even these review copies, I won't be covering in the video. I know these are much more expensive than the regular version of the PlayStation 3 games, but it'd be not fair to include these in the countdown, as well as this review copy that I have for Resistance, which was a fun novelty that I picked up a couple of weeks ago. So I really hope you enjoy. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, starting off with number 15 on the list, we'll start with Folklore. So this doesn't have too big of a physical release. If anything, it actually sold fewer copies than what was expected back in the day. There's no digital release for this title, but what makes it very unique is just the gameplay, the Celtic setting, the fact that it's also replayable. There's two story lines that you can progress with the male and female protagonist, and has like a kind of Pokemon-esque setting with capturing the phantoms, or I would say the Irish yokai in the game. This has actually made the game very desirable by being covered by other YouTubers today. I've played only about an hour, just previewing and testing the game out in the system, but I really like how involved the game is, and it's a very fun and niche title, which I highly recommend you pick up. Okay, so for number 14 on the list, I have Alice Madness Returns. So this was a cult classic with its whimsical horror-esque nature, bit of like hack and slashing, as well as third-person shooting elements. A very fun game, highly recommend it. So this was initially a recommendation by my wife. I managed to snag a PlayStation 3 copy, and I'm glad I did. The other reason why I'll advocate for anybody to pick up the PlayStation 3 copy above the 360 is because with the game you get the free Alice Americans McGee Alice game for the system. So this is free and downloadable from the PlayStation Store. All you have to have is just your regular game, then you're able to access the PlayStation Network through the menus of this game and pick up the free copy, compared to the Xbox 360, with which the servers are now shut down. So all in all, I think the PlayStation 3 has better value, specifically for this game. I highly recommend you do pick it up, especially if these are your kind of these kind of games are your cup of tea. Okay, so for number 13 on the list, I have here Mayhem. It has a kind of a black and white comic book aesthetic, as you can see from the photos. Very unique and very cool. So I really had had a blast playing this. Though this game actually has gone up in price because it's of its uniqueness, and also the fact that it's only gaining popularity now after so many YouTubers have now talked about it. If anything, you can still find copies in the wild. which are relatively cheap. There are a lot of shops that actually don't know how much this game is worth. I've actually snagged it up for about 100 rands, or for my American viewers about $7 to $8 worth. So it's really an inexpensive game, but also a very, very fun one at that I highly recommend. Okay, so for my next game, it's one of the most notorious PlayStation 3 exclusives, that is Time and Eternity. So a lot of people shot down this game because of its anime tropes and its cliches, but it's a very, very fun game at that if you're a weeb like me, or you just like anime. It has that 2D anime art style over a 3D landscape, which makes the gameplay relatively unique. People have criticized it for its repetitiveness and its jankiness, but if anything, it adds to the charm of the game. It has a very, very unique and awesome OST, which is what I actually have downloaded onto my phone that I listen to occasionally. What makes this game unique is its low print run, the fact that you can't buy digitally, it's locked to the PlayStation 3, and you can only purchase it physically, which has driven up the price. Highly recommended pickup if you're able to find it on the cheap. Okay, so for number 11, I also have a PlayStation 3 exclusive. I haven't actually played it as yet, I've just checked it out a little bit. That is Souls, Trinity, Souls of Zalal. So what makes this game very demanding to players and collectors alike, the fact that it's highly underrated. It's only on PlayStation 3. And the fact that it's a Koei Tecmo or Koei game in general, which I've actually realized follows a little bit in the same footsteps as the Atlas games in America with its relatively low print run. This side in South Africa, Koei games are very, very hard to come by as well. Not sure if it's the same globally, but you can let me know down in the comments. Can't provide too much kind of commentary on this game as I haven't played it as yet. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe in 2026 I'll give it a whirl. Okay, so for number 10 on the list, I have here No More Heroes, Heroes Paradise. Sorry for the glare in the reflection. So even though it is only on PlayStation, there was an initial Wii release, but this is the more definitive edition with the extra content as well as the exclusive additions added to this version over the Wii. So what makes this cult classic is the fact that it's a Suda 51 game. The same studio that did Shadows of the Damned, games like your Killer is Dead, as well as your Lollipop Chainsaw, which saw a kind of a remaster. But that said, this is also one of my most favorite games for the PlayStation 3. I actually picked it up dirt cheap. The lady that was selling me a couple of other games for the PlayStation 3 actually offered me this game specifically for half the price they had it on sale. So I ended up picking it up on a whim, played it, had a lot of fun. I really had a blast with this one. So it's one of my recommended pickups for the PlayStation 3, especially if you like over-the-top violence, or even just that kind of cartoonish aesthetic. That said, it's not for everybody, but it definitely remains one of my favorites for the system. Okay, so for number 9 on the countdown, I have here 3D Dot Game Heroes. My apologies again for the reflection. Also PlayStation 3 exclusive. So this has seen no digital release, which has actually driven the price up and become desirable for collectors and other gamers alike. What makes it an awesome entry into the PlayStation 3 lineup is the fact that it has that Zelda-like gameplay with the retro style art, as well as, sorry, that was my wife. Also the references and the nuances it makes toward other games, including Demon Souls in the quests and kind of themes that's presented in this game. I highly recommend it, even if you just do 1 or 2 playthroughs. This was one of my, I wouldn't say one of my favorites, but nonetheless one that I'm happy to have in the collection. Okay, so for number 8 I have HD Classics trilogy, that is the Sly trilogy, which is a beloved classic remaster of the 3 games for PlayStation 2. As somebody that's grown up with Crash Bandicoot, who was my favorite mascot in the PlayStation ecosystem, I played this and I've actually discarded that train of thought. Sly Cooper is one of my most favorite mascots for PlayStation besides Astrobot over here. And playing the 3 games, we're actually marathoning all 3 games in 2024 when I picked up the trilogy. It was very, very fun to play all 3 games back to back. Highly recommend it, especially if you like the older kind of 90s to early 2000s cartoon aesthetic with all the humor and the jokes. This is an awesome and beloved game which I highly recommend you pick up. Okay, number 7 in the countdown. When I started playing this, I couldn't put the controller down. I literally fell in love then and there with this PlayStation 3 exclusive. I highly recommend you pick it up, and that is Puppeteer. So I had a lot of fun with this game. This was released closer to the end of the PlayStation 3 life cycle when the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One were the buzz for the new generation. It may have overshadowed this game, but it did also achieve a lot of sales from what I know. I could be wrong, but its unique and quirky gameplay are what makes it a fan favorite amongst those that I've seen that have played it and or just looked at trailers. I highly recommend you pick up this gem nonetheless. It is getting up there in price. If you are able to find an affordable copy on the cheap, it's a recommended edition for the collection. Okay, for the next game on the list, I have here Atalia Aisha, The Alchemist of Dusk. So obviously this was a PlayStation 3 exclusive until it was ported to Steam and then to the Nintendo Switch as part of the Dusk trilogy, which I also have here in the game room. So obviously these games actually have gone up in price, specifically because of the fact that they are Koei Tecmo published, as well as developed by Gust, which also did the Blue Reflection, as well as the Knights of Azure games for PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. So obviously this is a niche franchise, or well, it was niche until Atalia Ryza got released and actually popularized the Atalia games among the gaming fan base, which has prompted a lot of people to pick these games up for their own gaming collections. Nonetheless, the other rumor that I heard why these games are expensive is because of the fact that it has a cute anime girl tax. You can let me know in the comments if that's exactly what people are thinking or if I'm wrong in making that assumption. Okay, we're cracking the top 5. So for the 5th game in my countdown, I have here Drakengard 3. It's a blue label, released relatively late into the PlayStation 3 lifecycle when the PlayStation 4 was in full swing. What makes this game particularly desirable to gamers and collectors is the fact that it's actually related to the Nier gaming series. So your Nier Automata, Nier Replicant, a lot of the lore and the story is kind of related in the endings or even just the quest lines that are done. So it's actually prompted a lot of enthusiasts to actually pick up the older Drakengard games as a part of the same universe. So this has actually driven the desirability for the Drakengard games up. This game I've actually bought for relatively cheap back in the day. Also, what makes this particularly rare, especially for people in the PAL region, is that the only official PAL release for Drakengard was the collector's editions, which were sold in very, very few quantities. So the only alternative would be to pick up an NTSC American Blue Label copy, which is what I have here. So unfortunately, it's just a sign of the times. Unfortunately, Sony didn't see doing a full-scale release for this game into the PAL region, which is a little bit unfortunate. Nonetheless, it's a very awesome hack and slash, and one that I think has a very awesome story. I highly recommend it and coveted a pickup if you are able to find one on the cheap. Okay, for game number 4, I have here Siren Blood Curse, which I was able to pick up relatively cheap. Same shop ironically sells Gran Turismo and games like FIFA for much more than what they're worth, whereas rarer titles like this are much cheaper. So very happy with this. This is actually the reboot of the Forbidden Siren game on PlayStation 2. I think it's just called Siren in the US. So this has only received a PAL release. It's got low physical supply, which has driven up the price. Also, the demand for horror, especially nowadays. A lot of the horror games between PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 3 have driven up the price because of the huge demand and the horror genre bringing more people into that confines of the genre and the themes and the lore that's presented. So this actually has gone up way in price. I will get around to it someday after I've beaten the original PlayStation 2 versions, and then I'll give my thoughts on it. Number 3 on the list. Unfortunately, this I think just shot up in price recently because now the game is delisted from the store, and that is Pain. So this has only received a PAL release. This only cost a couple of dollars a couple of months ago. I was very shocked to see it actually rocket in price, become the third most expensive game in the collection. So obviously what makes the physical edition unique is the fact that you can actually get the like logos and the themes for your PlayStation Home on the disc of the game and through its free downloads when you actually insert the disc into the console. So I think that's also what's driven up the price. Nonetheless, I have actually put a couple of hours into it. I did enjoy it for what it is, though it's not something that I would easily return to playing. I know there are some people that are fans of the genre that will actually put more time and energy into playing it. Okay, number 2 on the countdown, Yakuza Dead Souls. So what's made this relatively expensive and actually shot up in price is the fact that it has a limited production, particularly here in the West. Also the fact that this is a zombie shooter, so it is horror, as well as the fact that it is a Yakuza game, and especially with the series getting popularity over the years, it's driven a lot of people, especially if they want to collect the physical Yakuza games that were released throughout the years. They'll nonetheless have to add this game to the collection, which was a PlayStation 3 exclusive. Not too sure if it has a digital release, you can correct me on that. But nonetheless, a very fun entry, especially to those who have actually tried the game out. I haven't played it as yet. I do have it installed on my backwards compatible PS3, which I'll give a shot. Okay, and for the most desirable or most expensive PlayStation 3 game in the collection, it's not a JRPG like I thought it would be. If anything, it's not even what I'd consider a holy grail, but it is the Siberia Collection, which I think is only expensive because of that Adventure Company logo that's on the front cover. From what I understand and what I've looked up, the game has received only a limited first print with this branding on the front cover. I think it has changed. Also, it was released during the time the PlayStation 4 was out, making it a little bit more rare and collectible. So these late era games do see fewer kind of production runs. So if anything, it actually drives up the scarcity of the games. So I really hope you enjoyed my video. Please let me know in the comments what are some of your kind of expensive games for the PlayStation 3 system. I'd really like to hear what you have, and if anything, even just drop me a comment of any other videos or topics you'd like to see me cover. So I like to engage with my viewers. I try to respond to all your comments, and even just hearing some of your feedback. So I wish you guys a blessed week ahead if you celebrate Easter. Hope you have kind of a safe and fun time with your family. I wish you all the best. Keep playing your games, and I'll talk to you guys soon.